Welcome in, everyone. I am Jack Stash, Fantasy Farm Sports. This is where you get all of your information for the upcoming fantasy season. I want to thank all of our subscribers out there. All of our reels are doing amazing. Actually, we're crushing with the reels. It's been really fun just kind of putting some information out for you guys. So here's another quick one. I've been watching tape over the past couple weeks, stuff you guys need to know against the rankings. So what does he mean by against the rankings? But against the rankings means this. You're going to get rankings out there. The Gibbs, the Robinsons, the Nakuas, all these guys, and you're going to forget how last season went. You're going to forget, weeks 5 through 8. Or you're going to forget a certain play that happened or I should have. You're going to forget those things. You're going to come out, you're going to look at new rankings, and that's kind of how we live year to year, day to day in our lives, right? You get new ideas, new rankings. The rankings, do not be beholden to them. Okay, you don't have to live by these magical rankings that happen, right? ESPN, Sleeper, all these different apps, Yahoo, whatever you want, right? They all come out with these ranking systems, and sure, they have a lot of high-paid guys that put art together articles, but at the end of the day, you got to take the guys that are going to produce the most, and what you want to have is predictability. You want to be able to predict carries. You want to be able to predict when the player is on the field. That's really all you can do. Because if you can do those things, you could slam dunk. You could sit there and enjoy the games. Otherwise, you're gonna be driving yourself absolutely bananas. So let's start with a couple of running backs that you must have. I mean, absolutely. I'm telling you, if you do not have these guys on your team, you will lose because you followed these rankings. Oh, the fear mongering and the rankings. It's not as bad as you think. That's the other thing too. A lot of what happened last year is not as bad as you think or as good as you think because you forget. Must have running backs. I must have Cam Scatterbo. Cam Scatterbo. Yeah, he was okay last year. He screwed himself up. He's a knucklehead, half idiot. Yeah, he's all those things. Cam Scatterbo is not the greatest example, but he's the greatest example of a football player, right? He's not. I don't want him winning spelling bees. I don't want him taking SATs for me. He's no genius, but he's a meathead football player. It's exactly what I want. It's exactly what I want because that's the culture they're setting up in New York. I want a culture setter. I want a guy that's going to stand pat and be an identity of the team. That's what he is. Cam Scatterbo is the absolute identity of the New York Giants. It's not even close. When he's on the field, they play differently. John Harbaugh's coming there. He likes a running back to stay on the field most of the game. You know, these coaches will lie to you too. A lot of coaches will go, yeah, well, we're going to do a committee. No one likes a committee. No coach likes a committee. No coach likes to have different personnel on every other play, calling a guy in, calling a guy out. They'd much prefer a guy ready for every play. If you had a Swiss Army knife, you don't need a fork and a spoon, scissors. You have it all in one guy. That's what's more important. That's what we need. We need one guy that can do it all. Now, Jackson Dart got absolutely lit up the other day. He got lit up. I know you guys saw that preseason game. He got smoked off his cleats. But I'm here to tell you that wasn't his fault. How could it be? He was the one that got hit. Well, it wasn't his fault because Tyrone Tracy Jr. was supposed to block that linebacker. He didn't block him. Dart thought he had the time, smoked off his cleats. Cam Scatterbo would have had that block. Cam Scatterbo is never coming off the field. In college, he put up Christian McCaffrey-like usage. He loves getting hit, smacked, beat around. Played 6 games. He had 117 touches last year. So let's just double that. Right? If he plays 12 games or 15 games or however many games you think you're going to get out of this half crazed Tasmanian lunatic, because that's what Cam Scatterboo is. Right? You ever watch the Tasmanian Looney Tune Devil? Ugh, that's Cam Scatterboo. He's a wild man, but he's going to be wildly entertaining. He's going to help the Giants win games, and he's going to get about 240 total touches this year. And I know that he's going in the 4th or 3rd round, depending on how you draft him. But you don't have to be beholden to these rankings. You can draft Cam Scatterboo in the back end of the 1st, early part of the 2nd round. I would do that. I'm considering it as we're talking about it. I'm considering taking Cam Scatterboo very early because I know he's getting 20 touches a game. So he's going to get, so that's what? That's 1,000 yards. This is what you want in the out of your running back. You want at least 1,000 yards. End of story. And you want the ability, the capability to get 14 touchdowns. That's what you want. And I don't care if it's with the Looney Tune Tasmanian Devil. I don't care because he's going to be on the field. Harbaugh is going to want to put his stamp on that division. And it's going to be with Cam Scatterboo. Look at Jackson Dart is pretty. And he's only going to stay pretty because of the lunatic. Give me Cam Scatterboo. I will take him everywhere. And I am taking him everywhere. So if any of you guys are in my fantasy leagues, beware. I'm taking Cam early because I don't care about your rankings. I could care less. They're fake rankings anyway. They're not real rankings. Next guy I love a lot that everybody's just trashing on him. Devon Achane. Devon Achane, like, no, but he's on a bad team. Were they good last year? Let's revise. Let's look at the whole scope of the Dolphins. By the way, I don't think they were that bad. They won 7 games. Mike McDaniels is a good coach. He's a good offensive coordinator. I believe all those things. You don't have to. But they weren't a good team last year. They lost a lot of games early. They came back late. Coach got fired. Tyreek Hill gone. Jalen Waddle gone. Tua gone. You know, it's really interesting. If you're a bad team, you don't retain any of your players. Just how life kind of works. Bad business, bad everything. Everybody kind of gets shelled. So if that's how it is, and believe me, that's how it is. You got Achane left. You brought in Malik Willis. That'll work. You got the defensive coordinator from Green Bay as your head coach now. Forgive me his name. Achane on a bad team gave you over 1,800 total yards. Like, Malik Willis doesn't read a perfect football field. He does fine. But he's going to dump the ball off. All they have to do is scheme Achane open, and they will. Is Achane going to give you 1,400 yards on a bad team? Probably. Probably 8 touchdowns. But everybody keeps talking him into the basement. Everybody keeps talking him into. He's like an in-law that you don't want living on the same floor with you, right? Devon Achane's fantastic. He's got a lot of spark left, right? A lot of wisdom, a lot of athlete left, Devon Achane. But you're just talking him into that basement bedroom, right? That maybe, oh, he won't climb the stairs. He won't come up and see us. Devon Achane's going to have a good year. Is he going to have a great year? I mean, he would have a great year if he was on a better team, yes. But the Dolphins ran the ball when they were down last year. They're going to run the ball again. It's all they have. They're going to run the ball. Their coach jokingly on the Rich Eisen show said that they're going to run it 40 times some games. I mean, they're not going to run it 40 times. But could Devon Achane for Dolphins fans provide interesting, provide fun, provide Ricky Williams-like stats? Yeah, I think it could. I think it could. These are must-have running backs to me. I think if you're looking for running backs with real value, these are the guys. Because Look at everybody loves Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. If you don't have the first 2 picks, you're done. Then what are you doing? Then what do you do? You're gonna take a wide receiver. Puka Nacua is about to get suspended. Then you're gonna go what? Jackson Smith, Najigba, Amon Ross, St. Brown. I'm glad that they picked really easy names to say for those wide receivers. The fact is this: after the first 2 picks, right? There's what Jonathan Taylor's a good pick, but these guys hold value. And I think when you get around 6 to 10 and you start slicing and dicing up which ones you'd rather have, you got to think about it. It's not cut and dry. It's not easy. These rankings aren't good. They're not right. They're wrong. These are rankings from last year without the context. There's no information really backing these. Oh, Saquon Barkley only had 1,100 and some yards. That's not bad when he busted up his hamstring in week 5. We're going to get to him right now. Saquon Barkley was on his way to a great season. The yards were low, fine. The Eagles were playing good football, though. He had 4 touchdowns in the first 5 weeks. Do we like that, fantasy owners? I love it. Give me a touchdown. That's 6 points. He'll figure out the yards. 6 and 5 is 11. I feel good with that out of my running back. I know we want to have the most points, but never happens. I'm happy to have 4 touchdowns in the first 5 weeks with Saquon Barkley. If you guys can't live with that, I can't help you. That's fine by me. But then he pulled his hamstring against Denver on a long run. So had he not pulled his hamstring, he would have been fine. By the way, still gave you a touchdown that game. It was receiving. It was like 8 yards, whatever. You take your 6 points and you don't get greedy. Now, did he go on a 3-game dud streak? He did. On a pulled hamstring. Which, by the way, if you were watching that Denver game, he kind of gimped off, but then toughed it out. So Barkley still, with his draft capital from last season in fantasy, right? Because that's what we're talking about. All right. He still gave you, right, what you needed. He still gave you a running back that played, that gave you anywhere from 4 to 6 points a week. I'm very sorry that he got banged up and they weren't Saquon Barkley numbers. They weren't. But he played with a bum hamstring and gave you some big weeks in the middle and still stepped on the field. The guy's not going to give you 16 touchdowns a season. He still came out last season. I think he finished with 9. That's a fine year. Now, unfortunately, we don't love that because 4 of those touchdowns came in the first 5 weeks. So we were thirsty, right? It was a desert for a lot of the season with Saquon Barkley. But if you know the whole story, all of the content behind the stats, I would not be fading Saquon Barkley. I think he's got plenty left. I think if that hamstring was good, we would have been fine the whole year. Doesn't make him injury prone, right? He didn't hit the IR. You didn't waste your pick. Those are my 3 must-haves that are being discounted. Those are being absolutely discounted. Now, there's a couple guys I'd stay away from. And only one of them I'm going to convince you. I would stay away from Bucky Irving. Bucky didn't play a lot last year. When he came back, he was fine. But Bucky Irving was like a rookie year story, wasn't he? Oh, God, he was hot. And the plays that he busted were nice. And he's really fast when he gets through the first burst of the line of scrimmage. But Bucky faded. In fact, I like the gas station better than the player now. Send me to Buc-ee's. I don't want to watch Bucky Irving. I'll go to Buc-ee's over Bucky. That's what I would rather do. I'd rather go there and fiddle and walk around than sit and watch Bucky Irving's season. I don't think it's going to go great. In fact, I think it's going to be a real timeshare. I think it's going to be Kenneth Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell is a Baker Mayfield running back. He was awesome last year in Pittsburgh. He was not only a wide receiver, he was a running back. He was a true dual threat. Stays on the field, more athletic than you think, and I believe he's a number 1 running back. Now, Bucky's going to find flashes. That's fine. He's going in the 4th round. Can you imagine that Bucky Irving is literally going right next to the Cam Scadaboos? He's going right next to Devonta Smith, who's going to be the number one in Philly right this year. I mean, this is what you need to be looking at. I would take the tight end and I would take Brock Bowers over Buck Ewing. There are so many players that I would take over Buck Ewing because I don't think he's going to be there. DeAndre Swift, I would take him over Buck Ewing. The last one I want to give you guys before we get out of here for the day, because I'm going to start doing all of these updates every single week. Fantasy Farm Sports is so much fun. This is a great time of year. Christian McCaffrey. God, we love Christian McCaffrey. Oh, if he's healthy, he's the best running back in the league. That's true. That's true. And I know that, there's no real hate because Kyle Shanahan's going to get in the ball. I'm staying away, but I want to caution you. Those are the two things I want to do. I'm going to stay away from Christian McCaffrey, but here's the caution I send to you. He had over 100 receptions last year. He's not a wide receiver. And I will tell you straight up, San Francisco doesn't want to use him as a wide receiver. Okay, that attributed to a lot of his yards, a lot of his usage. I believe that he'll at least have 30 less receptions. It still puts him at 70. 100's ridiculous. He's coming back to 70. That's 30 less touches right off the bat. That was last season. As a running back, he averaged 3.9 yards. I'm not high on San Francisco this year. You can be. They've already had an injury, and Mike Evans has been sitting out practices, and Kittle doesn't look great. I just feel like they all look a little banged up. They look a little old. I don't know if Shanahan's been wearing on them. I don't know what the story is completely in San Francisco, but it just feels like it's run its course. And I think that Christian McCaffrey is going to be a top 12 running back, but he's not going to be a top 5. I just feel like the top 5 is going away. I think you're going to have your Bijans. I think you're going to have your Jahmyr Gibbs. And there will be a surprise. Remember last year? Oh, the Cowboys are going to be terrible. Well, Javonte Williams is pretty good. Right? He was your surprise running back last year. Broke a lot of tackles. Looked like he did his rookie season. I think your surprise this year could be the opposite fashion. I think your surprise is Christian McCaffrey does not end up in the top 5 running backs. I do believe he's going to miss some games because of usage, or the usage will have to come down. I think he's much closer, in my opinion, to a Saquon Barkley year than what he did last year, where he led in touches and he led in total yards. I love Christian McCaffrey, but he's not being done any favors in San Francisco. They are running the wheels off the kid, and he's a great player. But we just need to be a little careful because I feel like after last season, everybody's right back on the Christian McCaffrey train, where we should be sitting there going, every other year. And when a kid gets a break, that's when he gets some fresh air and freshness in those legs, and he gallops like he was young again. He's starting to get a little bit older, and those touches keep pushing the roof. Guys, I am Jack Stash from Fantasy Farm Sports. Check us out. Like, subscribe. The videos will keep coming. You'll do better in your fantasy football season if you follow, like, and subscribe our